So there was another gun shooting, mass gun shooting in Texas school. That was, I believe, at the end of last week. And it all goes to show that unless you do some measure of gun control, these gun incidents and mass shootings, which have to do with guns, will continue to happen. It's only common sense, but of course, people don't have any because they want guns to be sold. And they're not going to go up against the NRA. And so we continue to see these incidents happen. For those people who are campaigning against that, and the young citizens, keep it going. States have to have uniform gun control. You look at Hawaii, these incidents don't happen because they have sensible gun control laws. Anyways, I want to point out another thing. Racism. Racism. White people anonymously, or trying to be anonymously, reporting black people for incidents that are really normal incidents in neighborhoods. And these people are known to be racist. You look at their Facebook feed and you see that. And so we're seeing more blatant acts of racism. And it's very interesting to me, that's all I'm going to say, when these actions happen, because it's interesting listening to the white community's response on that. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm just highlighting these articles. But the Orlando police, they ended up pulling over the Orlando state attorney. Yes, that's right. They pulled her over and they said they ran tags and her tags didn't run as normal. And we all know, whereas a white person would say, oh, shucks, they pulled over a state attorney. No. This is even bigger than that. This is a black state attorney. And she asked a pertinent question. She said, what did you run to see that I had, under what label did you run for my tags? To which the officer never answered it. He just said, we do it routinely all the time. This video went viral because I do believe the state attorney, who has a lot of clout, ensured that it ran so everyone would see it. It ran on CNN, of all places. As you can see, 3 million views. Now, of course, the white people react by saying, oh, shucks, he just accidentally ran her plates. Obviously, they didn't accidentally. You don't accidentally run the state attorney's plates. You just don't do that. All right? And so I'm just showing you what's going on in the world today when it comes to racism. And this has been rampantly happening all over the country for a long time. And Young Turks covered an incident where a young white guy, he actually pulls over a cop. That's right. You heard it right. He pulled over a cop, demanded his ID and so on, because the cop was in an unmarked vehicle, and it's illegal for cops to be in unmarked vehicles. Now, what ticked off the black guy who was helping to aid the Young Turks guy is he said black people have been talking about this for the longest while, and people would say, oh no, the police are trying to assist you, the white people, because they're blind to the fact of profiling. And I've been followed in the United States a number of times as a student of Loma Linda, so I know what it's like for police to just follow you. Now, they didn't follow me in unmarked vehicles, which is very good, but they profile you. If you're a black person driving a nice car, they're going to profile you and they're going to follow you. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that certain areas and certain districts of where I was staying, that there weren't bad neighborhoods in there and they needed to monitor people. I mean, good or bad, you need to monitor people. But to profile me, you should be able to tell the difference between somebody like me and somebody who is a criminal. And they can tell it by the way how I go to certain places, where I live and where I'm going to. So when you get routinely stopped over and over again by the same police, you're being profiled. And it's because they don't think you deserve to be. It's an intentional thing. See, I'm not bullshitting out here. I tell you guys the truth. And sometimes when they see black people in certain positions, they decide to harass them. It's literally tactics being employed. And so you must pay attention to that. And this is what they were trying to do here, harass the state attorney here. And a lot of people will deny it, and they will all say and try to spin it and stuff. But I don't deal with crap. I tell the truth. So gun control, like I said before, the only way that's going to be dealt with is when they actually put out laws to control who gets their hands on guns. What I mean by that is you at least have to have some sort of license, or you have to run some sort of test to be able to get a gun, and then you must have a permit to carry it. That's the way how it's been back in the day, and why they don't want to do that now, I don't know. But now people don't need a permit in certain parts in certain states of the United States to carry a gun. So, of course, if anybody can get a gun, obviously, if anyone can get a gun, you're going to have these kinds of incidences. You're going to even have minors who are not supposed to have guns like that, having guns. And stop with the bullshit about bullying in schools. The last guy who killed some people in Florida, he wasn't being bullied. So stop it. Stop the bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that the other things are not important, that you should also look at those other areas. But right now, the people who are doing the killing are doing it with guns. So use your brain. Use your common sense. Find some good legislation to control who gets access to these guns. And then high-powered assault rifles, or weapons which have semi-automatic stuff that can make you kill multiple people in a building and do mass damage. You want those guns to be harder to access. Either you put bans on them, or you make them harder to be accessed. And for those Americans who are inconvenienced a bit, so be it. But you can't afford to have more mass shootings because you have been lax on the laws of the land regarding these things. And don't tell me you can get more security and more high-powered people to defend different areas. You ridiculous? You can spend more money for that when you can just put legislature? What are you just like throwing money around? And who's to say that the people who are protecting you are not the people who will flip out and kill you? So we just saw the police and what they have been doing. And we've seen police terrorize people, not only of minorities, but also people who they just decide to take out their wrath on because the cop ain't in his right mind or whatever. So let's be real about these things. Now, police are there to protect and serve. Protect and serve. Not protect and serve themselves. Protect and serve you. And so it's interesting to see some of the citizens hold police accountable. And what we as citizens need to do is use our citizen power. Don't be intimidated by the police. If they're not doing the right thing and they're not doing the right job, the citizens of the country hold them accountable. If the police force won't hold them accountable, we as citizens can do a citizen's arrest and go to the properties and houses of these people and arrest them. And if the state wants to free them, so be it. But arrest these people. You have to have evidence, though, of wrongdoing. But there's something called a citizen's arrest. And you have to sometimes implement your rights and hold these people accountable. If you've got footage of these people, the police, shooting somebody daily, get a citizen's arrest, call a lawyer, and as a community, arrest these police. Don't go bombing the police headquarters. Don't go, file charges against them. Use the law. You have that right. Because all police are not corrupt. I don't care what country you're in. There's a lot of police who want to keep the law and do the right thing. There's a lot of them. The majority of police are like that. The system's a little bit messed up, but the majority of police are like that. But we cannot have police just thinking they can do anything. The citizenry must band together and hold them accountable. If citizens are seeing something wrong happening, also call out to the police. And when they say back off or whatever and they brandish their weapons, make sure you're filming it. Make sure you're filming it because every bit of data is going to be held accountable to them. And then get a lawyer and file a charge against them. Whether it's on behalf of somebody you saw them using excessive force, they must be held accountable. Certain police have to have cameras on them now. Body cameras. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying the police job isn't hard. There are a lot of good police who are getting bad flack because of bad police. And that's the problem out here. But we do have racist police out here. Let's not fool ourselves. And we need the police. And the police need us. So it's about time we hold these bad apples accountable. A lot of these bad apples are getting off the hook. They're getting off the hook. And we have to hold them accountable. The citizenry has to hold them accountable. It doesn't make sense burning down a town. It doesn't make a sense looting and behaving stupid. That's what they want you to do. No, you use the law against them. Use it. And if the courts are corrupt, the people will see that. And then after that, we go to the higher courts to get an answer. In the meantime, the citizens keep these police in check, building more and more of a case against them. And the more they try to proceed in a corrupt way, and even the courts keep them in check, document everything. And citizens be watchful. And if you don't trust them, it's okay too. But keep them accountable. In my country right now, the media. I'm a bit on the social end of the spectrum right now. I'm talking social issues. The media has been pushing this gay rights agenda. And they've been doing it under the guise of discrimination. Now, it's one thing when you discriminate a person based on their look, their appearance, okay? But it's another thing when you're discriminating a person from another person because of their actions, which are not ethical and they're not moral. There's a difference. If a man is a murderer, he's committed an act of murder, that is why we try him in a court of law and put him in prison. If a man goes and rapes a woman, that's why we try him in the court of law and we put him in prison. We're not discriminating against him in a wrongful way. His actions are wrong. Now tell me how buggery is right. Tell me, give me a reason why buggery is right. That's one thing when you have homosexual tendencies or you've been born a homosexual or whatever. I should treat you with respect. Your private business is your private business. I don't know about it. But it's another thing when you want to authenticate and say it is not a crime to have buggery. That is, let me be clear, so I have to be a little bit, to have oral sex or to have anal sex. That's buggery. Now, when you say that that's okay, and it's legal and legit to have these things, what you're really saying is, it's okay, it's right. And you've just changed the moral and ethics of these things. As far as I do know, buggery is associated with rape. That's why people don't want to go to prison and get buggered. And buggery is associated with domination. Now, those people who have grown up in that lifestyle where they're being buggered, for whatever reason, I know it's very prolific in the world today. The ethics and morality has gone down the tube. But for those people who say that it's okay to do that, well, listen, this is an action now. If it's okay to do that, then it opens the portal to say that you can show these things on TV. You can talk about these things freely on TV, and it's okay. What are you telling to the younger generation? What are you telling them, really? As far as I do know, your mouth is made to eat food. Put things into your mouth. As far as I know, your anus was always made to send out stuff like filth. I don't like being constipated. Far less having something shoved up my butt. It's one thing when you say a man is attracted to another man. It's another thing when you're saying that that other man is shoving stuff up the guy's mouth and in his butt. Or a woman. Or to a woman. There's something wrong, just wrong about that. And so I look at all of these strange, weird, twisted things that are happening in the world today. We have bondage. There's this new thing called BDSM, bondage. That's weird and whack and twisted. But now, because people have become so vile, the below the belt films, we got people now treating marriage as if it's a rug. You can marry, divorce, marry again. We got people now doing infidelity like it's nothing. Adultery doesn't mean anything anymore. You could go and sleep with another guy's wife. In fact, they had what they call them swingers and stuff, right? That's the kind of world we live in, where ethics has gone out the window. So we can have a leader like Donald Trump and He can curse out people and hate people, and he can victimize people, and then he can attack people, and if people don't side with him, he can fire them, and he can do all kinds of unethical things, and it's okay. That's the new normal now. He's untouchable. He's not accountable to anyone for anything because he's the president, and president means he's a king. He can do whatever he wants. That's the society we're living in. The society of up in the air. Lex Luthor threw that blue ball, what he called a little blue planet here, up in the air. Just throw everything up in the air. And then when it comes down, I'll catch it because I will now restructure what is ethical. I will now restructure what is moral. That's what the devil's doing. But I thank God there's a pushback. And we're seeing it out here. Again, I don't hate anyone. Whatever your sexual persuasion doesn't mean, you're not defined by that, in my opinion. That you are more than that. I don't endorse it. I don't agree with it. But I'm not going to discriminate you because of it. Get what I'm saying? I don't want to know about it. And if I know about it, I would probably tell you that it's not cool. But you're more than that. And all of us have flaws and faults. And so I don't discriminate people in terms of what they may be called or what other people call them, because I have known what it is to be oppressed or discriminated against. Where somebody tells me I'm this and that, I'm the other, because I am what I am. So I understand what it is to be that. But I'm not going to endorse those things. And sure as hell, I'm not going to make them law. And that's what we have today. We have this problem in society. This cancer. Where right and wrong is now being rationalized. And people are making fallacious claims, false equivalencies, calling discrimination where you're not accepting someone for doing heinous things. Next, they're going to say probably next, murderers are being discriminated against. They have the right to life too. Should get rid of the death penalty, right? What are we doing? What are we doing, people? Somebody got to say it. And I will say it. I will say it because I cannot be silent. Then it means I am just like everybody else endorsing the wrong things. And so I will say it. I'm not going to be liked. Some people are going to look at me a certain way. I don't care. Somebody got to say it. And I'll say it. And I'm not perfect. But at least I aspire, and I hope we aspire to something higher than that. So I wanted to just point that out to you guys before I get out to work. Be out about around 3. A lot of people like to see me shut up. I'm never going to shut up. Never going to shut up. I'm always going to talk. Anybody who's known me, whether in the United States of America or here, I've always talked out on certain things. I always strongly believe certain things. And I always will be believing those things. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. You guys have a good one.